A warm good morning to you all. It is 7 a.m. on this Thursday, January 9th. I'm Errol Barnett. It is a busy news day, so much to get to. So here's a look at the big stories we're following for you right now. Wildfires around Los Angeles continue to grow. We'll bring you team coverage of the impact across the area and the concerns that the strong winds could return and fuel the flames. A major disaster declaration has already been approved for California, and the White House says President Biden is focusing now on the response. Meantime, President-elect Donald Trump is pointing the finger at Governor Gavin Newsom for digging into the politics of the fires. And the other big story of the day, a final honor for former President Jimmy Carter. We're just hours away from his state funeral in Washington and his burial in Georgia. This is the CBS Morning News. All right, we start with the fast-moving developments out of California as authorities continue to grapple with the most destructive wildfires in Los Angeles history. At least 5 people have been killed and more than 100,000 are now under evacuation orders. At this moment, there are 5 wildfires burning around LA, with the 2 largest, that's the Palisades and the Eaton fires, currently sitting at 0% contained. Officials say more than 1,300 homes, businesses, and other structures have been destroyed in the fires, and that number, of course, is expected to rise. For more on the situation in Los Angeles, we're joined by CBS News correspondent Danya Bacchus, who also continues to log long hours covering this. Danya, explain to us how things have changed in the past day and what things feel like where you are now. Our hearts go out to you, Rob. He's also telling us he's struggling to explain all of this to his 12-year-old daughter. He says all of her possessions from the time she was born were lost. All right, the time is now 7:25. We've got much more on deck for you this morning, including these devastating wildfires as they continue to damage Los Angeles. On the ground with team coverage throughout the day. And a final farewell for Jimmy Carter in Washington. We'll bring you a special report covering the ceremony beginning at 9 a.m. Eastern, right here on CBS News 24/7. But before all that, we will take you live to Times Square with Gail, Nate, and Vlad. They're speaking to a spokesperson from the Los Angeles Fire Department who's been on the scene of these wildfires as crews continue to try and contain them. You're in the right place, streaming the CBS Morning News. All right, welcome back, friends. It's about 7:30 this morning here in New York City. I'm Errol Barnett. Here are some quick updates on today's big stories. There are now 5 wildfires burning in and around Los Angeles. The biggest one is the Palisades fire. It scorched more than 17,000 acres and counting. And the Santa Ana winds that help fuel them are expected to return tomorrow. Meantime, the fight to put out these blazes is slow going. CAL FIRE reports that the Palisades, the Eaton, and the Sunset fires are 0% contained. President Biden has approved a disaster declaration for California to ensure the state gets the federal aid it needs. And he's canceling his planned trip to Italy. The White House says that will allow him to remain focused on the fire response. Meantime, President-elect Trump is calling on Governor Gavin Newsom to resign. In a social media post, he raised the issue of fire hydrants running dry, which the city of LA blames on high demand. And we're now just about 2.5 hours away from former President Jimmy Carter's funeral. The service begins at 10 a.m. Eastern at the Washington National Cathedral, and you can catch our coverage right here starting at 9 Eastern. And here's a live look at New York's Times Square, home of CBS Mornings, and this is the Eye Opener, your world in 90 seconds.
Flames from the deadly California wildfires consume entire neighborhoods.